Yes, hope you're good. Welcome to the home of dance music debate and discussion. It is Planet B. I'm Danny Howard. This is my good friend Duvall. Episode 6, the final episode of the series. It's bittersweet.
I can't believe it, mate.
I know, can't believe it. We made it this far.
We have, and we haven't killed each other yet. Yep, so every episode we are joined by unbelievable guests. Planet B, if you don't know already, it's about debating everything within our dance genre, music category, worldwide, nationally, wherever we are. But today we are joined with 3 unbelievable guests. I'm going to leave it to Danny to show you who they are.
I'll tell you. Okay, so first up, one half of the legendary dance duo. Legendary now, right? Yeah. Gorgon City are on Planet B. Yeah, boy. Literally, actually, on Planet B as well. The album Sirens is on there.
Yeah, nice.
We'll talk about that in a minute. If she's not in a DJ booth, you'll find her on the football pitch. More recently, keen cyclist as well. DJ, producer, presenter, label boss. She does it all. It's Monki.
Yeah, fantastic.
And another person who's got his fingers in a lot of pies. You do everything, like A&R, DJ, producer, festival booker. It is Waze Faraz.
Yes.
Okay, the important bit. The most important bit, I think.
The most important bit,
Yeah.
the bit I always mess up because I can't really pour a drink, but what are we drinking, guys? Let's start from right to left, left to right. Matt.
I asked for Guinness, which is pretty boring, but
Perfect, I don't need to pour
love
it.
a Guinness.
Just need to open it.
Yeah.
Is that alright?
Well, you do actually need to pour that one into a glass.
Oh, no.
We didn't get
But
a glass.
if you can give me a glass that's not a pint glass, it's fine.
Whiskey glass.
Alright, cool.
Just any glass.
It's a
'cause
whiskey
glass.
basically, it's got a widget in it, and so you have to pour it
Oh, shit.
in those ones because that's the draft. If you got
I fucked up without even knowing I fucked up.
Yeah.
Really.
there's a lot of different types of Guinness, so you
Okay,
can get
gotcha.
ones that are fizzy that you can drink straight from the can, but that's not one of them.
Right.
So that's
You just setting me up. You're setting me up.
I picked up the drinks this week and I thought, we'll get the cans because it'll be
leave this to you.
easier. Don't need to mess about
Nice
with
one.
that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. But it might spill a little bit. So
That's all good.
Sorry if it
And-
goes somewhere.
Monkey, what are we drinking?
I asked for a mocktail.
Okay. And what did we get you?
Iced tea. Arizona iced tea.
Some fruit juice.
It's a fruit punch.
Fruit punch.
It's non-alcoholic. It's
Okay.
a little bit, I don't know, it looks quite fun actually.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we've got
You
your,
take it?
I'll take it,
we've got
yeah.
your disco ball glass to go with that.
Thanks,
And
Mads.
no ice, I imagine. We are
No,
so
it's chilled,
terrible.
it's chilled,
Oh,
it's chilled.
All right.
Chilled.
It's perfectly
What
chilled.
is that?
All right. Do you mind
That's
eating
how
this?
it works. You'll see it. It will turn into a perfect
good?
Guinness.
Yes, please. Yeah.
All right.
That
mean,
was
not
And to complicate things even more, Firaz.
I'm happy with the beer.
All right.
Yay!
Thank God for that.
Do that.
I'll also have a beer.
All right.
When you're ready,
All right.
ready.
Let me just pour this one.
Matt, Gorgon City, pleasure to have you here, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's, let's talk about this first of all.
I can't actually
Sirens.
see what you're
So
pointing
Firaz in the way, but it's the.
Right. I see.
I'll put it up here so you can see.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to knock it down. So the last episode we debated the greatest electronic album, and we had Jax Jones, Jodie Harsh, Emily Nash. Daft Punk was brought up by Jodie, Dizzy Rascal by Jax, and then Emily, who's like 20, 21 years old, brought up Sirens, which 2014, am I right? Or 2013, 2014?
2014. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about greatest albums, automatically you go, your Daft Punks, your Chemical Brothers, your Prodigies. And then she brought that in, and we were all like, actually, and the case she put forward was that was her introduction into electronic music, because she's only 20. And yeah, how does that feel, man?
It makes me feel old. No, no, it's really flattering, to be honest. You know, it's that album was a massive part of me and Kai's life, and it completely changed everything for us. You know, the singles that were on it were the biggest tunes we've ever released. Well, especially when it comes to sort of chart positions and all that. We had Ready for Your Love, which got to number 2 in the charts. I had Here For You, which was top 5. Unmissable, which was top 5. It's like it was such a crazy thing for us. We'd never done anything like that before. Obviously, we had our previous projects. Like I was doing Rack and Ruin, he was doing FOMO, and we'd never done anything like that. We made underground club music. Do you know what I mean? That's where we come from. We come from bass heavy, London based, like dance music, rave music, and then we made this album which kind of crossed over. And for someone to say that is it's incredible. I've never had anyone else say that to me before. So yeah, it's incredible, man.
I'm really
now flattered.
That are going out. Obviously your album, and then that particular episode we talked about like Disclosure Settle, like all these albums now that are going to go down as iconic.
I mean, it was a great time for house music, for UK house music. I mean, the Disciples guys were part of it. We met then, didn't we?
Yeah, we
like,
did.
do you know what I mean? And we were all part of that same movement. It was us, you guys, Disclosure, Second City. There was Rudimental. Obviously, it was a massive movement, and the whole Black Butter label thing that we were part of was. It was an amazing time, and there was an amazing scene in London, and we'd be going out every night, partying and. We partied together, and the next day we'd be in the studio and we'd be writing hits. And it was mad.
But you find everyone had their own sound as well.
Yeah.
It was still all accepted being played on radio and in the club. It was like 5-6 different sounds going on at the same time.
But it was like a family thing, though.
Yeah.
Because everyone was working with each other.
Yeah,
one day you'd be working with Becky Hill, next day you'd
Yeah.
be working with Emanike, next day you'd be working with, Rudimental. Like everyone was collaborating the whole time, and it was a beautiful thing. And we're really happy that we were part of it.
I miss it.
Oh my God! But we're all still here.
Still going strong.
There you go.
Still making tunes.
There you go.
It's all good.
Monkey, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Fresh off holiday. Well, actually, was it a holiday? Or, I mean,
Yeah, it was a holiday.
Okay,
Yeah, it was a holiday. I got in a pool, so.
Okay, yeah, that counts. Something I need to mention. Obviously, very successful DJ, but also the footballer and football presenting. How are you finding balancing the two? It's because DJs and sport and health, as we discussed on the last episode, don't always go hand in hand. But you seem to have struck the balance very well.
Yeah, I have in the last kind of 5 years, but previous to that, definitely didn't. But had loads of fun. Football just came back into my life sort of thing, and I just wanted to be able to do both. And in order to do that, I kind of just had to live a bit healthier, I think. Yeah. But yeah, playing Ibiza on a Saturday and then flying back and then playing football match on a Sunday is a challenge sometimes.
Oh, did you ever play on no sleep?
Not anymore.
Okay.
No. It happened
Gaza.
once. Not like Gaza. No. Yeah. Waiting to do that celebration. No, I haven't. I don't think I would. I wouldn't survive 90 minutes. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah,
I'd be like that, mate.
Get
me off.
That's amazing, though.
Waze. It says Waze. I'll call you Faraz, but Faraz Waze. I need to thank you, but also it's your fault. The state I was in the last episode. Apologies, by the way.
Yeah.
Snow bombing. That was a good week, wasn't it?
We were all there together, right?
Yeah, we were. Well, actually, I left the day you.
I saw Kai.
I came.
And it was his fault as well as it was yours. But what an amazing week.
It was a good week, really good, really well received, and I think everyone's just happy to be back out, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice to see everyone. I think it's been quite a while since we'd seen kind of each other, for a little while. So
And you said before
get bands back together.
You said before we started recording, you've just been eating nothing but vegetables since.
Yes, trying to counter there's a Butcher's, isn't there? Did you go to it?
Oh,
Hans
yeah.
the Butcher.
Yes, Hans
Go
the
to
Butcher's,
it.
yeah.
He's crazy.
It's a legend, isn't it?
Which is amazing. And we had Mike Skinner play a set in there.
I saw that.
Just
I just missed that.
wild. But I went there quite a lot. So
Yeah, that's what I love about snowboarding. Like people just jump on. Like you did a jungle set, D&B set.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So Romper, who runs the Reggae Shack up on the mountain,
That's a sick
I've
venue,
known him
isn't it?
for years. He used to run a party called Urban Nerds in London back in the day.
Yeah.
They were like big promoters. I used to play for them when I was, even before I did Rack and Ruin, like I'm talking, 12 years ago, 10 years ago when we were kids. And every year he always asks me to do something different. I think one year I did a garage set, and then this year he texted me and was like, "Look, mate, you've got to come and do a jungle set this time." And I was like, "How about garage set?" I was like, "Me and Kai haven't really played a jungle set for a little while."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Just do a jungle set." I was like, "Yeah, cool." We did it, and then me and Kai turned up, and we had no idea what we were going to do, and also we hadn't even really spoken about it. And I was like, "Have you got any?"
Yeah, did you have any?
And he was like, "Yeah, I've got some sick shit." I mean, I was like, "Yes, so have I." And then we
sick.
just went in, and it was incredible. Somehow it worked perfectly. I don't know how. Sometimes those things just happen. Where it's best to not plan those kind of things sometimes, because if we planned it, it would have gone wrong. But we just turned up and winged it basically, and it was the best set that we. Literally 20 minutes in, Kai starts screaming, going, "This is the best set we've ever played!" And I was like, "Really?
Need to be
yeah,
more-
yeah. I guess it is. We need to do some more jungle sets, mate." It was fun. It was sick.
Better than Red Rocks.
It's funny because when we got to Red Rocks, guys like, we should play some jungle at the end of the set. I was like, I don't know if the American fans will get it. Like,
Be very confused.
it might like sort of alienate a few people in the crowd. But no, Red Rocks was amazing too. So yeah. But yeah, man, like we want to play more jungle, basically.
Did you start off with jungle then, but before Rack and Ruin?
Yeah. When I first started DJing when I was like 14, first music, I mean, originally it was like hip hop, like for the first like few months that I had decks, and then my brother introduced me to jungle, and then I just asked his mate for a list of names that I could go into black market with, like, of producers, and I just went into black market like a kid, and like, can I have some of this? And the guy's like, yeah, all right. Like, and then I got addicted to jungle.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was me. Like, I made jungle for years before I started doing Rack and Ruin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't very good though.
House music's gone all right.
Anyway, yeah.
All right, let's get into it then. The final episode of the series, as mentioned, and I think it's going to be a spicy one. This because we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about. But one thing I was keen to talk about, a topic was, and I feel it needs discussing as well. And the question is, are we contributing towards music snobbery by avoiding? About artists avoiding certain lineups or certain events. That's right, isn't it, Amara? That was the question she came up with, and I thought we need to talk about that. Yeah. And also I'm seeing it as well because I actually saw a meme and it was DJ, I'm so grateful to be back playing after not playing for 2 years because of the pandemic. Also DJs, why is his name above mine on the lineup? And it's just like, I feel like you see, even post-pandemic, we're seeing a bit of musical snobbery coming out in terms of lineups and positioning, and I do understand it to an extent with like alignment and people having their plans. But let's start with you, Waze, because you see it from both sides because you're an artist. You understand what it takes to get to a certain point. Build a fan base, build a sound, but also you book lineups for major festivals, Snowbombing, Hideout. Do you think lineup and billing wars, if that's the right word, has gone too far?
Lots of people on the billing side, lots of people seem to have gone A to Z, which managers and agents just breathe a huge sigh of relief and go, thank God. And that's where you get no issues.
Even if there's a headliner?
That's the thing.
A headliner and then A to Z.
There's always someone that's maybe on the tipping point, right? And then once you open the floodgates, everyone's got an argument. I don't think there's a real set science to it. Someone could play a certain venue that's 10,000 cap. They could do 3 nights. Someone else could do 3 nights at Brixton, for instance. So there's kind of lots of variables, I suppose. From a musical point of view, going back to the Waze and Odyssey era, and when we perhaps were starting out, it was way more musically diverse on the lineups. Just from a musical point of view, it wasn't all the same thing. I definitely remember in probably 2015 or so going to a club and it was just like tech house bangers all night, and it felt like the same thing all night. Whereas when we started, we were playing with people like George Fitzgerald, Loafer. There was a lot of crossover into the bass scene, I think, a little bit at the beginning. George Fitzgerald, but it felt like it was definitely a bit different.
Yeah, all the swamp people would be on the same lineups as like you guys.
Yeah, Bodika would be on there. You'd get these random amalgamations of people at festivals, and it worked, and it was amazing. And I think it was a good experience, perhaps for DJs, because you have to be versatile. I think Scream's a great example of someone that can play probably in many given scenarios, and I think that's an attribute he's got from actually just not being too specific. I don't know if he is too specific about where.
Not many people can do that though. I think he's
quite.
But how's he learned? Maybe from the experience of doing it. Whereas if
A to Z is obviously the easiest way of doing it. And I get with festivals, especially we've got Bicep, Camel Fat, Fatboy Slim. As a business, they're the ones who are gonna sell you tickets on the lineup, so they have to be at the top. But like, how have you managed to navigate? Dealing with artists, maybe it's not even artists, the agents, the managers, to get that lineup for Snowbombing or Hideout right that everyone's happy with, and is everyone happy with it?
Someone's always unhappy. Let's be honest.
Yeah. What are the challenges you've faced this year booking?
Name names.
You don't have to.
Matt from Gorgon was a really good fan. Let's just say. We did have a challenge with the billing. Each artist sees themselves in their world and what they're doing, so it's very difficult to navigate. You're literally a mediator, really, between each party that has probably a very good argument for why something should be a certain way. I don't think we'll be doing it again where it's not A to Z.
Did you have any difficult conversations or have to give anyone like a reality check, if in the kindest possible way?
It's hard. I mean, hard to. How do you? You have to be really careful about what you say, and just being diplomatic. And it is. You don't want to kind of upset someone, but also there is the reality of perhaps the venues that they're playing, or put them in a certain bracket. But even just to tier people is slightly ridiculous, because it's you can't really say that there's a set like figure that you need to get to or something to be in X tier. It's
Right.
and like you touched upon, there might be two headliners at the top, but another act might feel like they should be in that top tier. So it's you're dealing with people's perceptions, which, as we know, can be quite different to what.
Yeah.
And then the question is, do the punters care? So when they see that lineup, that flyer, that whatever, and they see the names in a certain order, does that deter them from coming in, or does that prompt them from going in?
I think knowing from the needs of say the festival, they want to place prominence on some of the bigger names that are going to sell the tickets. So it's your the first thing you see will be those people.
Okay.
So there is that, but generally, do people care? I think away from industry, maybe not. I mean, do you think your friends really look at it? They'll just name names and go, "Oh, what a great bill!" Really, and I think that's. I think post-COVID, it has got a lot better. I think people are just a lot more aware of like the energy and time that goes into these sorts of conversations. And like I said at the beginning, I think making things A to Z is just everybody
the answer.
breathes a sigh of relief, because there's always somebody that's driving something, and you can just reach loggerheads because you're dealing with lots of different parties, really.
Fourth letter in D, disciples.
Danny's always a good one. I always say I should change my artist name just to like
Annie.
A Triple A.
Someone's going to do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's thought of that. There you go, have that one for free. Matt, obviously with Gorgon City, you've been headlining for many years. What's your experience with billing? Have you ever had any trouble? Do you get involved in it?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. I think the massive thing for me and Kai is basically, there's a lot of filters in our team. At the end of the day, we don't really hear much about any of our bookings until we see it in our calendar.
Right.
And that's the honest truth. Like, it's it's the agent and our manager who basically get the offers, and they kind of do all the work. They're the ones that choose the shows, and either they approve or they deny the shows that are coming in, the offers or whatever. Whether it comes to the offer, like the place that it's in, or the fee or whatever, it's like me and Kai don't see any of that, and that is literally how it is. And that's a good thing, because they kind of keep us from taking time away from the studio.
Yeah.
We spend all of our time making music or on the road. That's literally all we do. We don't talk to our management about offers that much. Occasionally we'll get a message being like, right, there's 2 shows on this day, it's going to be a lot of traveling, are you up for it? That kind of thing. We'll be like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Or we'll be like, no, we need to sleep. Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
your management will agree shows because they know that you will like the show.
It's very rare that they'll be like, what do you think of this show? Yes or no?
Oh, okay.
They'll be like, this is a show that you're doing this week.
Sick. I like that idea.
So it's like,
So what's
I
the
do.
easy? Yeah.
I do.
so and that's because it comes with trust, and it comes with years of working together. When we first started working together, that wasn't the case, but now we've been working together for so long, it's like we trust our manager. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's basically it. But occasionally things do happen, and we speak to our agent, especially our agent Ben in America, where I feel like billing is a massive thing, and it's very complicated, because there are these massive festivals with people from the EDM world, people from the techno world, and obviously people from the UK house world where we're from. It's like, and everyone, like Faraz was saying, everyone is massive in their own world, and everyone believes that they deserve the amount of work that they put into it. They deserve that billing.
Yeah.
Me and Kai, I know it sounds cheesy, but like we literally don't care.
Yeah, in it for the music. Yeah.
We don't care. Like if we're below whoever, I mean, it's like we don't want to be at the bottom of the bill.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's like if there's someone that we know who's on the same, who's above us, we're not going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe we're below whoever. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's just how we are as people. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different level of ego. It's all about egos at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It starts probably with the agent's ego, then it goes to the manager's ego, and then if they tell the artist about it, then the artist's ego comes into play.
Yeah.
And if you've got 3 people's egos,
That's a lot of ego.
That's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh my god, we need to be above that person, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, for me, we haven't got any time for that.
Yeah.
We've got to make tunes, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? It's like, that's basically my experience with billing. It's like occasionally they'll never tell us unless, for example, I won't say what it was, but there was a show that we had post-COVID that we were originally on before COVID that got postponed and then got done like a few months later, 6 months later, and because of billing, our agent took us off it.
Oh, really?
And we didn't know.
So,
We were like, what the hell happened with that show? Because we wanted to be on that show because it was a really good show and it was we had good billing and it was a really interesting lineup. And we love doing interesting lineups, you know what I mean? Because we like to think that we're quite a diverse act where we can play on like a techno lineup and also a house lineup and a commercial lineup.
Absolutely.
And so we got taken off it, and then I spoke to my agent and I was like, why did that happen? He's like, well, because the billing. They wouldn't do it, and I was like, "Really?"
How does that make you feel as an artist?
Yeah,
though,
it makes me a bit annoyed, to be honest. But also there was stuff with fees because of COVID. They reduced the fees and stuff like that, so that happens too. And then sometimes you have to get taken off shows, and then you end up doing something else.
Yeah,
and that's what we did. So.
And Lucy, you obviously worked managers in the past. Now you manage yourself. Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
Like, so are you more exposed to like the whole process of a booking now? And have you had any issues or anything with billing?
Yeah, I guess like the complete opposite. So I had a manager for a long time, probably like half my career, and then sort of just before COVID decided to manage myself basically. One of the reasons is because my career is so multifaceted, it's almost hard to get one person to manage like the sports side. So instead of getting one manager, I just built a team around me. So I have like an agent that looks after my sports brand partnerships. I have an agent that just does live and music. And then like I'll bring in a tour manager if I need advancing and things like that. But in terms of receiving offers, like I see everything. So like absolutely everything. Things that I'll just be like, no, it's not really worth our time essentially, and things where we have to negotiate. And
Sounds interesting. I kind of wish I saw.
And I'll be part of that negotiation, but sort of from the back side of things. Essentially, my agent will deal with the actual negotiation. But in terms of making decisions, like I obviously come into that, which is it's taken some learning because I always had someone to do that for me, but I never thought I wasn't incapable of doing it after being in the sort of the dance world for so many years. But in terms of like billing and stuff, I'm not really that arsed, to be fair. But A to Z for me is just like
A to Z is the most simple.
Yeah.
Way.
I mean, I know you play a lot for Defected Crew. Like that's how they do it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And like, look, I play headline shows, but am I going to headline a festival in my career right now? I know that I'm not, so that's fine. Like, I understand my standpoint in that. And even from a radio perspective as well, like it's funny because you play people on radio, and then like a year or 2 years later, they're like ahead of the bill of you because they've like blown up over the last year. But I'm never like, oh fucking hell. It's like, well done. Like that's it.
That's your job. Yeah,
it's your job. Yeah. So, no, it's too much of a headache, man. Just A to Z the fucking thing.
Yeah, they should do it with every festival like in the world.
Yeah. All come to an agreement.
Something about billing I always laugh at is special guest. Not as bad, but there's one I've seen recently. This is more on, I think it's more in America, but I've seen it on a lot of bills recently, is daytime headliner, nighttime headliner. And it's just a bit like, they're just giving all these titles, and it feels, is that just getting ridiculous now, in your opinion? Because it feels to me that that's just to feed the egos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's to make agents happy as well. It's like, they're, if you give them we are, we run our own parties as well, and we try and book people for our realm parties all the time. And, there's a lot of that stuff where they're like, they'll play, but they have to headline, or they'll only play if they're special guest and all that stuff. And it's like,
so they'll try and headline your party.
well, yeah, pretty much.
Do you know
and that's fair. Like if they want to, if they feel like that's, if that's how they feel they should be billed, then that's fine. Like, and we're just because it's our party doesn't mean we're the biggest act on that lineup.
But do you know what's so sad about this? It seems like it's an argument and a frustration amongst the the people who are not quite where they want to be yet. So like you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Touched upon,
You got nothing to prove,
Someone
yeah.
said to me, the
Yeah.
people at the top have got nothing to prove. They're
Yeah,
secure in there. It's in
The middle tier,
rungs
low
where
down,
it's
everyone's
like,
just like, oh, I want to be a headline.
I need
No,
to
I
be
want to be
here, I need to
daytime
be
headline.
there.
Like,
You know,
fuck.
or someone that maybe has
know.
lost a bit of kind of like impact, or the career's losing a bit of momentum. Like,
Yeah.
that's also another one. But great point. You know, the people at the top are kind of like, we're bicep.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm not
And that's
cut,
fine.
You know.
You are bicep. You can do what you want.
yeah.
Another thing, like I'm not here to bash agents, but I think so. Booking an Ibiza lineup this year, as Matt will know, it's really opened my eyes into.
How's that going?
Yeah.
No, it's long. It's a long process, and that's almost why I wanted to speak about this topic, because I just thought, I'll just like call a few DJs, get my mates involved. It's like Ibiza obviously is more tricky than other places because there's so many clubs, so many parties, and only so many DJs. Obviously, we're trying to be spreading the love and being diverse as possible, but it's not as straightforward as you think.
Nope.
And I find it mainly due to the process that is longed out unnecessarily by agents and managers. The other thing, the main thing I want to speak about though, is the way that the dealings happen and the language and the tone that's used by agents I find really abrupt and in a lot of cases quite rude.
Doesn't like short emails.
Yeah, I don't like short emails. No, but I'm not saying like we should be like, you know, roll the red carpet out, but it's a friend of mine back in Blackpool who's not really in the scene, but I sort of speak to him about it. He's like, hold on a minute, so some of these DJs are getting paid like, even a grand's a lot of money, but some of the DJs that people won't be aware of are getting paid like 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand for one set. And that's fine, whatever, but the way that the promoters are getting talked to, imagine if you're going to buy a car and paying 50 grand, fucking hell, you have whatever drinks you want, sit down in this comfy sofa, sir. There is a red carpet, you know what I mean? Like there's an element of customer service there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we need that, but there's no need for the way that some promoters, as I'm sure you've had to deal with, get talked to, because there's a lot of money involved here, and you know, it's paying everyone's wages, and I think there needs to be some sort of legislation or something in place that
Etiquette.
can stop.
Etiquette,
Yeah, a bit of etiquette. Yeah, and just so that it doesn't affect people's mental health. We spoke about it as well. Like,
Is that ego again though?
yeah, it definitely is.
Just don't be a dick.
But I just think
Like, what's-
There's a lot of good
It's the
agents
meaning
who
to life.
can communicate properly. But then it's the odd one that will just ruin your day, and you're like,
I know.
what is that? And there's a lot of projection, like we see probably in society. People can project things from their day into your world, and I've seen that happen certainly.
Like, has the manager said something to the agent who's then said something to you, and then
There's a lot of insecurity being an agent. You know,
Yeah.
I think also have empathy for their position and to try and understand it. Is that there's no contracts with artists. Like you could leave your agent any moment now with a manager. You've got a contract, right? So probably
no one told me. I'm out.
yeah. So I think there's an insecurity there within them and how they are perhaps treating themselves, and it's all kind of it's an ecosystem at the end of the day though.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to look at it.
It's very fickle.
Yeah, but it's
They
more
need to be short though, because it's just like 100 offers every day, especially with some of these agents.
not for me.
It's like maybe it's a more like just direct and to the point
Getting-
rather than trying to be rude.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, there's some friends that I've got at bigger agencies, and they're just dealing with so many emails. It's untrue, and they can't actually get through them. It's just
Typically, it's always better to like pick up the phone as well, or like talking to someone in person is so much different than talking to someone over 20 emails on a long thread.
Yeah.
Like you can come across a lot ruder over like text or email than.
Well, that's why is the whole promoter agent kind of relationship thing is important. So if you have, you know, people like Firaz who know our team, you know, it's like it's easier to book us. There's always
There's a trust thing there.
there's a
as well,
trust
yeah.
as relationships, and that's how. You know, that's how it works. And it's like if your agent has a good relationship with that promoter, you know, you'll play again for them, and then you'll end up playing, you know, there's certain promoters that we've played with for like 10 years. And we know that they're going to come through with a good party, and it's going to be sold out because they do a good job as promoting it. And it's like, then our agent knows that. And it comes with, experience and time. Do you know what I mean? And those are the parties that are the best. And it's sad to say, it's tough to become a brand new promoter, you know, just like it's tough to become a brand new artist.
Yeah.
It's it all comes with time and trust, and that's
and
the
there's
music.
so many more people now doing both, being artists and being promoters.
But pretty much every time I go back to a city, it's the same promoter.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the world.
It just doesn't sit well with me how, like, you know, we're trying to put on parties, we're trying to create a good time. Dance music is built on, you know, like unity, togetherness, like, you know, love, and then on the other side of it, behind the curtain, you've got just people being rude, and
I know it's shit.
it is shit.
The saddest part though is when you offer someone like to be part of your lineup, but they don't want to do it because someone else is playing. Like that for me, I don't want to say that's happened to us, but I believe it has, even though like the filter system happens for us as well. Like we've had a show booked, and then a couple of people we saw in the lineup just started to drop off. I was like, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to us as well, loads of times.
Sorry, were you going to get into this chat?
No, I was just saying it's pathetic. Like that happens.
It's tough. You know, I guess I understand how certain people, you know, don't like other people's music, and that's opinions, and that's what music is. You know what I mean? A lot of people aren't into other people's stuff, and if they don't want to have that on the same night that they're playing at, then, you know, that's cool. But I feel like, you know, once you come on, like, they're listening to you. They're not listening to that person.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you just...
It's a bit of a vicious circle, isn't it? Because going back to your point, like, of people not wanting to play on lineups because X person is playing on that lineup, they might have a management behind them or an agent or whatever behind them being like, well, if you start playing with that person, you know, this night is probably going to stop booking you. So there's that like fear factor element, isn't there? Of like losing whatever it is you're either working towards or you have.
Yeah. Playing with one other random DJ could like ruin your career.
Yeah, that's how it's boxed up as.
It's
sometimes.
true.
See, I think that's come from Instagram as well. I mean, again, going back to like 2012 era, I was looking at old lineups. We had people like Marabou State. I mean, used to play with you and Kai, like under your other aliases.
Time,
I mean, they're now like what? Ali Pally or Brixton headliners, and you just think, does it really matter? I think Instagram's made things harder. Everyone's definitely watching themselves a bit more.
Yeah.
But goes back to our point about, like, I don't know, maybe the original foundations of club culture was around acceptance, understanding, exploration, you know, being exposed to someone else's set that's probably different musically to yours could be a benefit. You could be in the club at 2 a.m. and go, hold on, what's this record? And it changes things rather than being exposed to the same thing that you're doing.
No, I think it's better when it's mixed for sure. I was thinking, do you think there's still snobbery in terms of music and people wanting to play with each other? I feel like there's the mainstream side and the underground side, and they won't mix with each other, but then you've got this whole other tier up here, like your Diplos and your Calvin Harrises, and maybe even like David Guetta, you know, like could literally just go into an underground club and they could play and it would just be accepted. Whereas if someone like Jax Jones or Joel Corey went into an underground, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I just feel like that's it seems a bit separate still, apart from these lot up here.
Yeah, I guess because they're like the legends, and it's like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that this is what I think, but I think.
Do you think it should be like? Do you think it should be underground, mainstream, or do you think it should be?
No, I think
like,
everything should be mixed, and it's funny because, you know, everyone really, you know, they just want to play a banging set, and you know, and they know, like, I don't know, for example, Joel Corey. I've only seen him play maybe once or twice, but like, I'm sure he would he'd just be as happy to play all of his hits, you know, to a Kiss 100 stage in, I don't know, in London or something, and play like an underground club in, you know, wherever, New York or something, and play bangers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and everyone, I don't know if everyone wants to do that, but I know that I want to do that.
Maybe it's a rite of passage. Like, you got to do you earn your stripes, so to speak. Like, come through the underground, and like what you've done. Like, you know, you just released a track with Damien Lazarus. You know, like considered one of the coolest DJs, you know, and legends around. But you're still doing your mainstream stuff as well. Like, you've really struck that.
And you came up through the club scene first, though.
Yeah, it's something that me and Kai have always been, you know, passionate about. You know, we come from the underground, like we come from that sub bass like sound. Like, it's not like we, you know, tried to make hits. Like, that whole thing happened just completely like randomly, really. We just got together and started making tunes with singers, and then we put our bass lines on it, and it turned into Gorgon City. but we still love making.
Sounds easy.
I don't know. It's easy when me and Kai do it together.
Yeah.
But before I started working with Kai, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
For some reason, when me and Kai worked together, it just flowed, and we made all this music. But we still always made bangers. Do you know what I mean? Like we'd do a week in the studio and we'd make a bunch of album tracks, and then we'd both get on the plane and then get to the club, and then we'd
do
both
terrace dub.
Yeah, or we'd have like a plane banger, and we'd call them plane bangers, and we'd turn up, and he'd be playing, and I'd be like, "What's this?" He'd be like, "Made on the plane." It'd be labelled like Gorgon City plane banger, and I'd be like, "Plane banger 3." and that's what we still do now, and that's where we get the excitement. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love going into the studio with singers and songwriters and creating a song, but I also just as much love making a banger with like a disgusting bass line and like, crazy, interesting structure and like build-ups and all that stuff.
But you've crafted your career so perfectly well where you can do that and be accepted in all of it because you're so good at all of it. It's not like, oh, I'm okay at making commercial music, but I'm really good at making club bangers. It's like there's a quality level to all of your shit.
Well, thank you very much.
You know what I mean?
But we never planned it for it. Like that.
Yeah.
But thanks, mate. That means a lot.
We're also seeing more so-called underground artists do major label deals. I know you did it years ago anyway, but you think that's
So did
more?
he.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you've done a few in your time, haven't you?
He had some hits, mate.
Do you think that's become more accepted now in the scene, like seeing underground artists do like Eats Everything? He's an underground artist now. He's done a deal with Sony. He's got an album coming. Do you think it's
360?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you signed 360.
I think it's a great thing, but one thing I would say is during COVID, it did sort of change the way a lot of people made music.
Yeah, of course.
People that there was no clubs, so a lot of people that were sending me tunes who were normally would be sending me like, hits. They were sending me and Kai like underground kind of like interesting tunes, and they were really cool. And it's funny, it happened over lockdown, and now that the clubs are back and they're playing again, they've stopped sending me those types of tunes.
Okay.
So a lot of I feel like, and that's cool. And like,
fine, you got
it shows that they want to do it and they love it, but it's sort of it's interesting.
Try and get that club vibe back. Firaz, talking about all the billing and lineups and musical snobbery. I know we chatted before we did this episode that when you were booking lineups, some of the conversations you were having were difficult and started to affect your mental health. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it can get you feel like you're going into battle sometimes. And definitely, when you look at it in perspective and you go, it's a party, and you appreciate that people have got their jobs to do. And everyone has got their job and function. And there's a lot of amazing industry out there, managers, agents that can speak to people and communicate properly and do it in a really good way. I think it's always the one or two that you kind of, again, it's probably someone trying to get somewhere. There's probably some agents that have, you've not booked any of the roster, and they come and go, why haven't you booked any of the roster? And you think, well, you can't just book someone for the sake of it. I mean, even with my job, there's lots of people perhaps have an opinion. There's lots of production elements that we have to take into account. There's a team behind snow bombing. There's a team behind hideout. So, but yeah, I think like you said earlier, it's just about politeness, slightly, not expecting a kind of.
I think it's an old school mentality to go in like being all rude and like shouting abuse.
It's definitely it's changed a lot. It's got a lot better. I do think it's definitely got a lot better. I mean, I remember when I first tried to. I did club nights when I got to London, and I remember emailing an agent once and being like, I crafted this email. It was a reply that said no, and that was it. And I just thought to myself, wow, okay, interesting. I mean, it kind of plays into that kind of Ari Gold entourage.
Ari Gold, what a reference!
There is that, but yeah, it's something you have to navigate and almost build a kind of resilience against it, really, and just not realize that it's nothing to do with you, and it shouldn't affect your day. Do
you take it more personally because you're creative as well, though?
I think there was definitely. I mean, it's been a baptism of fire going from one side to the next, and it's taken a lot of kind of training and thought to get through it mentally. But yeah, you can't. I mean, you just have to kind of not let it stick. And I definitely more grateful of the gigs we did and the gigs we play from doing it from this side, because you realise how challenging it is. And if you get a gig, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's trickier. Like, you know, people pulling off lineups sometimes because of someone else playing on the bill. It's definitely getting worse at kind of underground kind of starting off level. People are very much watching their positioning, and sometimes will say no to gigs, and then the manager's like 6 months later, I can't believe they said no to that, and they're kicking themselves, and you're thinking, well, kind of, because you don't want to be on some big poster, and you think you should be playing Panorama Bar, which is slightly short-sighted, I have to say. I think if you want a career in music, you need to be on the big festival bills. And
just do your thing, kill it wherever you are, man. Like what you were saying, like
in yourself.
Yeah. You don't need to be on Panorama Bar, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just started, just give it some time and, you know, hone your craft and, like, you know, just keep working at it. You don't need to suddenly. I don't know. It's just it's funny you say that, because it's interesting. I didn't really know that the underground are becoming more like, you know, picky.
Very tribal, just got very tribal. I won't play with this person, I won't play with that person. I don't think it was like
Is that
before.
Music, or is that personality?
No, you sometimes don't know, but it.
So who said that then?
Really, really small, like artists coming through, and you're thinking to yourself, like, wow. I mean, we booked somebody for Snowbombing, and we just got this pretty rude email off like one of the management assistants. Which I just didn't respond to in the end, because I just thought, like, that's cool. We've given your artist a gig, and it was kicking off about this gig, but I don't know if anyone.
What was the problem?
Just didn't, like, apparently wasn't satisfactory, and I thought.
But the gig wasn't.
Apparently.
What?
Yeah,
Snowbombing.
But you asked for the gig.
The good gig.
And it was the place they were playing, and you just thought to yourself, hold on. I mean, from my perspective, I came and I started doing pubs, clubs in London, you know, did everything, and that gives you a thick skin, and you kind of know that it's not always perfect at the beginning or at the start. But
I think what you said about Instagram is has a lot to answer for. Is they just want the content and the video.
They want the drop,
and then they're not prepared to put the groundwork in to get to that point.
Will that stop you from booking them again, though? Would that stop you? That would turn me off. I'd be like, I'm not booking you again for anything.
I've secret garden. I never want to be like that, because you never want to put it down to one person or someone could, you know. I think you have to be kind of open-minded towards it. But I mean, I work with Secret Garden Party. That's where I kind of started doing the bookings. Pagoda Stage, only book nice people, and often just friends, to be honest, just to keep it easy.
I think most people have good intentions, but I think we've established A to Z is the way forward, and
yes, we all agree.
Just be a bit nicer.
So
shall we get into Ibiza? It's the final episode. Don't know if I mentioned it.
You did.
But as it is our last chance to talk about it, I think, well, before we have a summer break,
I
think we should talk about Ibiza, because it feels like a lot of exciting things are happening. We're seeing all the announcements, the parties, the lineups. It's all feeling like real again after 3 years it'll be since we were last there. And I want to talk about what we're looking forward to seeing. Matt, let's start with you, because Gorgon and Sonny Fodera at Amnesia, maybe someone else. I mean, how are we feeling about it? Like 16
excited.
weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So we start in June 20th, I think we start.
I wouldn't know.
All right. Well, we won't talk about you. But anyway, but no, yeah, it's going to be amazing. We obviously have spent quite a lot of years in Amnesia before. We actually started playing there with Defected back in the day, probably about 6-7 years ago, maybe. So we know that room, the Terrace. We've always played that room, and then we did it together for a couple of years. Then we went to Defected at Eden for 2 years, or maybe 1 year, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So we've gone back to Amnesia, and we're doing it with Sonny Fodera, and it's our first ever sort of like time we've done our own show in Ibiza.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. It's quite a lot of pressure. I feel like it was nice in a way to go to Eden for a bit and be with the Defected guys, because Defected are just like a solid brand, and you don't really feel pressure as a headline act to fill the club and that kind of thing.
You just know it's going to be busy.
But it's just one of them things. And, you know, Amnesia's a big club. You know, there's no two ways about it. It's a massive super club. You need a lot of people in there to feel full. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's your room and the main room.
You're doing both rooms? Both rooms open?
Both rooms are open. Yeah, someone else is in the other room.
Sick. Okay.
We're not going to talk about that person. But, it's us and Sonny headlining each week, and then we've got really cool. We've got some really cool acts on the bill as well. And yeah, it's going to be fun, man. And they've got a new sound system coming in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got a new sound system coming in. It's going to be sick. Obviously, Amnesia is the daddy of Ibiza. It's been there the longest. It's one of the first clubs that was sort of known as a super club.
Well, that was the one when Oakenfold and all that went over, and it was Amnesia.
And it used to be all outdoors. And so the terrace that we play in used to be open air. And in '94 they put a fucking big roof on it, and that's when the Guardia Civil basically said you need to like have these parties inside rather than outside with the sound and stuff. But yeah, and this is the first time since '94 that they're going to have house music on a Monday.
Wicked.
There's been techno since then.
Yes.
Had Cocoon with Sven Vath.
I think it's exciting.
20 years.
Wow.
So we're the first time, and that's when we went there the other day. He was like, "You guys are a new era.
Yeah.
Better be good."
Go there and play techno.
The guy that's been there, it was the technician who's been there
Yeah, just
for
play
years.
jungle. Anyway, yeah, really excited.
Monkey, you're going to be there. Obviously, Ant's already announced.
Yeah.
We're going to see you a few times in Ibiza. What can we talk about?
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. So I'll be at Ants. I'll be at Ushuaia with Big Calvin as well at some point. I will be at Paradise and Defected as well.
Let's talk about Paradise, because I know they announced it a couple of years ago that they were moving to Amnesia from DC10 after being there for so long. Sort of put that's the way the roots were, wasn't it? Now going to Amnesia, how do you think that party's gonna be there? Obviously, I know you're obliged to say it's gonna be amazing because you're booked, but it's gonna feel different, surely.
Yeah, it'll definitely feel different. I think it built its home at DC10, but for their reasons, they felt like it was a time to change. I think, like you mentioned, Amnesia is one of the footholds of the island. You know what I mean? So it will definitely be interesting because that DC10's kind of got a different feel to it. You know what I mean? It's a lot darker. Right?
Naughty.
Yeah.
It's naughty in there.
And Amnesia's huge.
Amnesia is huge. Yeah, it's really big.
Sorry, I'm really putting the pressure on.
It'll be fine.
Do you think the pandemic's been good for Ibiza? And I always hoped it would be, and sort of act as like a reset. And seeing some of the lineups that are coming out, do you think it's going to help the island in progressing forward? So do you think it was getting a little bit stale? Is what I'm trying to say.
I think it's nice that it's all switching up a bit.
Yeah, it's given. I mean, we've seen change, haven't we? I suppose, but I think the culture's changed over there. I mean, in all honesty, it's so expensive to go clubbing. That's part of the consideration. But I think there's been that plan to do it with the island since like 2007. They've been slowly turning it. It's like Amsterdam. Places are overpopulated now, so they're trying to make less people go. Yeah, spend more money.
But ironically, I think there's going to be more people than ever this summer because
starts in April, doesn't it?
I mean, I hear there's already people there.
That's the thing. It's like this summer is going to be rammed no matter what. And that's it's like I've been speaking to a lot of people about it, and it's like everyone's just like every night is going to be busy.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, touch wood. But it's interesting because there is a lot of new stuff on the island. You've got Patrick Topping on Fridays at DC10. You've got Paradise at Amnesia. It's like the only thing that's still at DC10 that was there before is Circo Loco, really. Like it's sort of like it's completely changed. And it's going to change. It's just going to change the weekly sort of like madness. It's going to change the way everyone clubs and stuff. But it's cool. I think it's good for the island that's switching up a bit, and they're all desperate for everyone to come back. Yeah. Everyone on the island is just like, we need the ravers back. Yeah. We need the clubs open. We need that economy. We need all the workers. Yeah. It's like there's a lot of people that have lost 2 or 3 years of income on the island, and it needs to start again.
Obviously, the lineup's looking good. Lucy, how do you feel about like diversity and female representation on the island? Because obviously, we're seeing a lot of the big names announcing parties, but there's still no Peggy Gou headline party, still no Honey Dijon, no Bless Madonna headline party. Like, what do you think the reason is for that? How do you feel about that? And do you think actually, even though there's not headline parties, diversity is pushing forward on the island?
I think, to your point a second ago, you've got nights and they'll stay there for 20 years. So 20 years, mate. So once you've got a club show in there, it tends to stay for a long time. And if that club show is headlined by a certain DJ, and if we're going to go back 10 years, it's going to be a man. So like there needs to be constant change for that to eventually for it to be a woman.
Yeah.
It was interesting actually because I was at snowbombing the other day and I shared a transfer from the hotel to one of the venues, and for probably the first time in my career, it was all women DJs.
Amazing.
No, so it was me.
No, we did. I think we did well on snowbombing. Hopefully.
Yeah, it was,
We were the only male act on the defected night that you played at. So it was you,
The Monkey, Ariel.
Sam.
Ariel, Sam,
Oh yeah.
and us. So we
Well,
were
Eats was supposed to play,
yeah.
but he got tuberculosis or something. I don't know.
Oh, what?
No,
tonsillitis.
Bit different.
Big difference. I'm not medically trained.
Disclaimer.
Get well soon.
Get well soon, Dan.
I love you, Dan.
But yeah, my transfer, and it was
Who was in there?
So it was me, Sherelle, Effie,
crew.
and two other. Wait,
Nice.
I don't know if they were all DJs. No, one of them wasn't. It was just a friend. But anyway, they were all kind of part of the group, or they worked for the person that was playing. And it was funny because in lockdown we kind of got new sort of artists and acts that were coming through, but like a lot of us had been speaking but never actually met because we'd all been locked up for 2 years. And so for those, except for Sherelle, it was the first time I actually met them in person, and it was nice to just get in a car and be like, oh, we're all women and we're all going to DJ.
Yeah.
Sick.
Good.
Like, what the fuck?
That's great.
And I had met them only for the first time. Usually it's like people I know, like Annie or Heidi, and I've known them for years. But to meet new people and for us all to be women, and then for all to be really young as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
It's good.
Great.
Yeah, from a booking, like to your point, from the booking perspective, you can't actually guarantee that someone's going to take the offer. So while you strive for the best possible circumstance, you can't make someone accept that offer. I mean, we worked really hard with snowbombing just to make sure it was kind of balanced a bit more, and I think we got there. But definitely certain areas of the industry where the talent isn't quite there from a ticket perspective, and that's just going to, like you said, it's just going to take time, and it's already built so much over lockdown. So many more artists, and you referenced Honey Dijon, Bless Madonna, and
Peggy.
Peggy. Yeah.
that 3 out of how many guys could you probably reference now in that similar world? So you can see the kind of difficulty, and these, all 3 are probably highly in demand across the planet.
Anyway,
it's a fine balance, but by nurturing up and coming talent that's coming through and trying to allow them to kind of play in front of people and opening those doors, hopefully develops their careers, and we've got the next Peggy in 2 years' time. That's the way of looking at it, rather than otherwise it's a difficult task.
And what you said about lockdown as well, like Tisha, Ben Hemsley, all come through, and now they're Tisha. Right, yeah. Well, she's everywhere now, isn't she? Like, obviously, announced to play DC10 in Ibiza, so I think DC10 is going to be one of the places to be this year, for sure. Is there any sounds that you feel are underrepresented in Ibiza? It's all, a lot of house and techno, but like there's a drum and bass night. I know Eden, trance used to be everywhere, now is not. Like, there too.
I think Eddie Halliwell still probably plays somewhere.
Eddie Halliwell. I used to love it. I had to see him at Cream in Amnesia.
Remember his scratching?
Yeah, it was amazing.
He was super talented.
Do you think we should see more different genres in Ibiza, or is it just all about house and techno?
It's funny because I don't know if you remember years ago when War started, We Are Rockstars at Ibiza Rocks. That was the beginning of bringing live music to Ibiza, like with Zane Lowe and Dawley and all them lot brought bands to the island for the first time.
Sorry.
And that's obviously Ibiza Rocks is still going, but We Are Rockstars isn't going anymore, is it?
It's all DJs. Yeah.
I think it's the outside music thing that's the issue.
Yeah, but
So I think
obviously
that's
now they
sorted
still
now.
book artists that aren't DJs, but mainly now it's MCs and pop stars. So you got people like Anne Marie playing, you got people like Rudimental playing, you got people like Stormzy, you got Dave, you got all these UK grime acts that are basically it's Ibiza Rocks is like what's big in the UK. They can bring to the hotel and they can sell out the hotel and everyone can have an amazing time. But I think there aren't that many other venues that have done that. Do you know what I mean? There's not that many other venues that have the capacity to have a live stage on the island. I mean, Cova Santa used to do a little bit of it, maybe.
Ushuaia doing
Ushuaia
Duran.
Right.
IMF.
Wow.
I'd go for that.
Which
Yeah, that's how.
I really wanna,
Yeah.
like,
Well, the
there
album
aren't
was
that many venues
produced by
that
Errol
do it.
Alcom, wasn't
he's
it?
DJing, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So I think it's difficult because at the end of the day, it's all about the type of people that go to Ibiza. You haven't got that many people who go to Ibiza who just want to see the Arctic Monkeys. They'd rather see Patrick Topping.
Do you think that rubs people up the wrong way? So in the last, 7 years, it's not just been predominantly about dance, our culture, basically. It's been more about opening up the island to multiple genres, it's multifaceted now. And I think for me personally, I love seeing it, but I'm a music head in general. So I don't class myself as just dance or just, do you know what I mean? So, but there are some people who think, from conversations I've had, won't name names, are like, yeah, I just kind of wish it was back how it was 20 years ago, where it was just about house, just about tech, just about, do you know what I mean?
I mean, I did I worked there in 2003. I got my ticket out with two friends, managed to last 3 months, worked for Cafe Mambo.
Right.
So I worked like 7 days a week.
I know it.
You've been there?
Might have popped in.
Might have popped in. And it was like, looking back, it was like Roger Sanchez, Darren Emerson, Underwater. You had We Love at Space, you had Carl Cox, and it was, I don't know how much it's changed, really. I mean, looking at it, and there was...
They're still there, like the House and Techno nights.
Yeah. No, but beyond that, I mean, there wasn't loads more going on. You had like early formation of DC10, I think there was a couple of drum and bass nights, maybe, a couple of garage events, but it seems to have musically stayed similar. I think people have maybe got a bit older. If you went 20 years ago and you were 20, getting close to 40 now, so that's why you're probably getting people like Duran Duran.
I don't know, I mean, you are seeing
fairness.
more, I know what you mean, like, you got like Becky Hill doing a residency.
Yeah.
You've got reggaeton nights popping up at High and Pasha. I do think there is more going on, but like ultimately, like, it's all centered around house.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, like, things evolve, and it's, I think it's a bit dangerous to be so nostalgic sometimes, otherwise things aren't going to push forward.
Not like it was in our day.
Yeah, exactly. And we can all look back at our past and the raves that we used to go to and be like, oh, that was sick. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
And kids are going to look back at Ibiza this summer and be like, oh, that was sick.
amazing.
It's going to be exactly the same.
How sick was Amnesia on a Monday? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Best night of my life, mate.
No, I wasn't there.
So I don't think it's...
Well.
I wanted to get booked.
Speak to Matt.
More importantly,
Listen, I think it's going to be amazing this year. Like, you only have to look at the lineups that have been announced. The likes of like Calvin. I know you're playing with Calvin this year.
Yeah,
played
I
him
am.
before,
I've played with him in 2019, and then I'll play again this year. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Sick.
he's not just. I mean, back then he was just doing like a couple of dates here, a couple of days there. He's doing like a full residency this year, so it's looking good. What do you think is
also
going to?
bought a massive farm on the island.
Oh yeah.
And he's
I
like,
spoke to him about this.
crazy, isn't
Did
it?
he-
I was like, I'd have a residency on your farm.
Yeah.
Great.
Live on your farm,
Yeah.
DJ fee.
Farm sessions.
Yeah.
Farm life. Yeah. When I interviewed him for Radio 1 in January and he was in Ibiza, he said, yeah, we just bought a little place over here. And I found out it was like a massive farm.
Like the biggest farm in Ibiza.
yeah.
As we're talking about Ibiza and stuff, I guess that should be the Planet B topic for the final episode. And I say this every episode. I always say this is going to be hard, this one, but this is going to be really hard because Ibiza, I know, holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, especially ours. And everyone has their favourite club, whether that's the first club they went to or the best club they had the experience at on their first visit. So we should do best club in Ibiza.
Of all time, or not?
Past or present? Yeah, past or present.
All right.
So just to quickly explain, if you're new to Planet B, which is this thing here, is an ideological place where the best products of electronic music live. Every single episode, we come up with a theme or a topic, and each guest brings a contender, puts it forward, and then we decide which one, and only one can end up on there. And the rules are simple, aren't they? It's just whoever puts forward the best case.
You have to fight. You have to fight
Yeah.
out physically. No, I'm joking.
Each contender is obviously going to be worthy of a place, but it's whoever puts forward the best argument of why their choice should go onto Planet B. So, best club in Ibiza, past or present, shall we do it?
Let's get into it.
Do it. Lucy.
Oh, I'm going first, yeah.
You don't have to if you don't want.
No, that's fine. I'll go first.
Wait, here we go. Sorry.
Get it out, lad.
Thank you. Oh, we're on in the air today. All right, I'm good to go.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have tuberculosis? 'Cause I'd be
Going around, I think, amongst the DJs. We shouldn't joke about that, really.
No, it's so bad.
no, you shouldn't. So yeah, my pick. I'm not going to give it away, but I know what you guys picked, and
That's
very
the
good.
rules.
Is
Producer
it?
Sam.
Sorry, producer Sam. But I guess in case we picked the same thing, which I think we potentially would have. But so I've gone for a bit of a curveball.
Okay.
I've not gone for a super club.
S Paradise.
No.
Don't laugh.
Sorry. I love
I've
this.
gone for a very, very small and intimate place that is the place of very mysterious nights, questionable nights as
I
well.
lost some brain cells in this place.
I don't.
Oh, well, I've left brain cells on the dance floor, mate, as many people have. And that ball pit, wherever that is. And the fancy dress room.
Oh right,
Yes.
I know what you're going to say now.
So I've gone for Pikes.
Oh.
Pikes.
Very good.
Nice.
Yes.
Very,
That's it.
very
At first I was like, is that a club? And then there is a club
No,
in
it
there.
is a
Yeah,
club.
yeah. Very
And I
good.
think, even though we just spoke about nostalgia and stuff, I think, the island started with basically good love, good vibes,
Yep.
vibes, like hippies basically going to the island, having a party. And this place still kind of encapsulates that
It does. Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's very different to your big
It's a
raves.
completely different experience to what you would get at one of the so-called super clubs, but it's equally as magical, as corny as that sounds. Like, I've had some of my best nights.
And the people that you've seen play there, like,
Yeah.
mad.
Mm.
Were you there for Robin?
Yeah, what?
How
was
amazing was
so
that? Oh.
mad. Yeah.
That was some night. But people just turn up and play, and yeah, it's just more. Well, it is an intimate vibe.
Club Tropicana was filmed there, like
Say no more.
the
Was
history.
it? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
In the pool.
Yeah,
In the
it was,
pool.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's like,
Amazing
drinks are
one.
free.
Oh, wicked.
He's like,
But bloody no.
I'm in
Yeah.
Pikes.
They had Freddie
here.
Mercury's, like, what was it, his 42nd birthday, Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, now they
there's-
celebrate
and-
that every year now.
Yeah.
don't they?
And he got Freddie's room that you can stay in. I've stayed in there a few times.
Oh.
Weird stuff happens in there.
Oh, talk to us about that. What happened?
Okay,
No,
so
we're not going to go to that.
Pikes is the first contender.
Fantastic.
Any more to add before we move on?
No.
I think you said everything. you
Says
said.
it all.
I'm catching twice
Um,
there this summer.
Yeah, you're there this
There you
summer.
go.
Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
It's a favourite, but
But not
Okay.
your favourite. Go on.
no.
Well, go on then. What's the second contender?
I went with tough one actually because I went with DC-10.
Oh.
But earlier, and not to be nostalgic, but for me at the time, it was like first explorations into Ibiza. So I
Yeah.
think that was what kind of it was. How kind of it was a shack next to the airport. I mean,
So what it's become now, or what it was, is your favourite thing about it?
yeah, and I still love it now. I went back for the first time probably about 4 or 5 years ago and saw just what it was. I found some photos in my studio yesterday of 2003 when I went as a worker, and I didn't go all the time. I just got the odd day off. There was no roof. Just felt really rough, really raw, and I don't know if someone could get away with starting a club like nowadays. I think it'd be
Like
so
that,
difficult. And
yeah.
I love the fact that they got it off the ground. It came from a really good place. I think it started from pretty much a party, didn't it? Circa
Yeah.
Loco. And back then you'd go from Space, which would finish at 8 a.m. straight through to DC-10 on the Monday, and then that'd carry on. So, but the
I
authorities,
don't know how people did it.
We all did it.
We all still do it.
but musically great. Learned so much from my own personal career. Learned so
Yeah.
much. Watched so many DJs there on that season, and it was kind of, be honest, up against Pasture and Amnesia. I've had so many good nights in Ibiza, but that definitely picked it to the post for how kind of like
Yeah, and that sound system on the terrace is thunderous.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the lineup for Circle Local this year is incredible. Okay, DC-10. And finally, Matt, Gorgon City. What are you going to go with?
So I'm gonna be a bit nostalgic and go to one that doesn't exist anymore, and I'm gonna go with Space Ibiza.
Wow.
yes,
Wow.
Good one, yeah.
So
Some approval around the room on that one.
yeah, obviously miss it dearly.
Didn't you used to DJ there?
Yeah, so well, it kind of all goes back to when I first met Kai before Gorgon City. He was called FOMO, obviously, and he was actually a resident at We Love on Sundays. So we were, you know, before I even knew Kai, he was a resident at Space.
Was he in the El Salon?
No, I think he was in the discoteca, mate. He was literally
Main
like
room.
in main room. So he used to. I think what it was he used to close it every week.
Oh wow.
Madness, yeah. Like, and it was like I think what happened was he went there and played a couple times, and he just smashed it. And they were like, let's just have FOMO finish the night every night. I think that's right. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, Kai. You know, on the comments. But yeah.
Watching now.
I think he did do that, and then so eventually, once we started Gorgon, they booked us to come in the main room in the discoteca, which is the main room.
Yeah. The Carl Cox room.
Yes, and so it was Sundays, and it was like I remember we played a few shows together in that room, and it was like us and Heidi and James Abelia and you know all the We
Wooly
Love,
used to
all
play
the
there.
We Love lot. Yeah, Paul Wolford. It was a vibe, and We Love was the best night. Sundays was incredible.
Yeah.
It was such a vibe. Everyone was so happy. Dance floor was incredible, and obviously the club was just the best club in the world. And we had so many amazing experiences there. Then we got booked to play at Carl Cox on the Tuesdays. So then we started playing. Then we got a residency at the Carl Cox on Tuesdays, and we played there like every other week or maybe once a
Nice.
month
What a gig though.
for a season, and it was incredible. And they were such an amazing team, like the Carl Cox team. They were just so hospitable and so amazing. And obviously, luckily, we'd finish our set, and then Carl Cox would start. So
Were you in the terrace?
No, we were actually on the we were on the Sunset Terrace.
Yeah, I know.
Upstairs, but we'd play on the terrace downstairs as well occasionally. But then it would close, and then
You don't want to clash with Carl.
So anyway, yeah. So Carl would start. We would go down and watch him, and then obviously we got to meet Carl like quite a few times, and it was just like dream come true. And watching him, being in the booth with him when you're like 25, whatever, it was just like fuck, sick. And I just fell in love with the club and all the people that ran it. The security were great, and just everyone was just amazing. So I miss it dearly, and I really hope one day they might make a new venue there. People talk about people. Oh yeah, okay. So let's leave it in the past, shall we?
Yeah.
But High, all respect to High, it's a lovely place, but it's not Space. And for me, that's it basically. Because people are like, oh, you can just go to High, but it's not.
It's not the same. I remember I had the same experience. We love, and seeing Felix the House Cat close that room.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
The lineups were great.
Yeah, they were.
We Love was, and the big
Great
smiley
musical
faces.
policy.
Remember the big,
big
big yellow balls
Yeah.
bouncing around in the dressing room, and it was
sick.
it was sick.
They're now doing Pikes. So
What?
it's the Broadbents, isn't it?
Yeah,
They
booked Pikes.
program a lot of the Pikes.
Oh really? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think every club in Ibiza we could mention and has got its own case to go on Planet B. Personally, I loved Pasha because first went there. Basement Jacks were playing. It was pure Pasha. It was incredible. Obviously, Amnesia. Got to mention one of the original. Privilege, Coup. What's your favourite?
I love Sankeys.
Sankeys. Ooh,
That's a great. Now
That's a
Uptown.
dirty one.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's a great one.
that's not around anymore though, right?
No, it's
Well, it is called Octan
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, different name.
I've had some wicked nights in San.
Yeah.
I know, that's why I'm choosing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same building.
We were probably
Yeah.
there together.
Probably had to go, I think we were.
Same building, same toilets, new name, Octan. Privilege is ridiculous when you get to play that, but obviously Ushuaia and Destino, all these, there's so many amazing clubs. But obviously we've only got these three here, and we need to decide, and we take it in turns to decide each episode. And it is your
It's your turn. I chose his album last week.
no.
I did. I chose Sirens.
What?
Yep,
Thank you, by the way.
of course.
Right
Danny
then.
doesn't want it's too difficult.
I just love all three
Difficult,
venues
man.
for their
Like
individual
Ibiza
reasons.
is a tough one.
Yeah.
The clubs are so good. Like
Okay, DC10 I absolutely love, and obviously Pikes and Space, they're all amazing. I've got to go with one that, obviously based on the argument, and personally, I'm going to be a bit selfish here, but I've seen, what? I'm not allowed to say that. It's based on the argument. What? All right, okay. Getting told off by producer Amara. Not allowed to be selfish.
can't you be selfish? Isn't it your show?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry, it's both of you.
It's Amara's creation. Based on the argument, I would say Space.
Oh.
Would you agree?
No.
I don't know.
Shit.
Pikes for me.
Okay, let's start again. Hold on.
No,
A
you
minute.
can't
Right, no,
start
the
again.
Pikes is good, and it's amazing for what it does. But I think Ibiza itself is about, when you think of Ibiza, you think like super clubs.
Okay.
And I 100% love Pikes, I do, but I need to eliminate that one because I think you think super clubs, don't you?
I don't know. I think grimy, weird, disgusting places.
I think as well as I think you have to go to Ibiza a few times, get to know the island.
Yeah. Okay.
Before you discover Pikes.
That's fair
You
enough.
probably progressed to that one.
Like,
That's
yeah,
fair
exactly.
enough.
So
That's fair enough.
That's the
Level
gateway
So-
right there.
Yeah,
So for that reason, I'm going to eliminate that. It's a process of elimination.
Okay.
Both of these are legendary, iconic, and have incredible legacies, especially Space. But, I don't know now. Put me off. Space, Carl Cox is what I think, and,
Yeah,
and we
of that.
love. Amazing.
Can't beat a bit of Carl Cox, mate.
DC10, maybe DC10 because Circle Loco
Still going.
is still going. It was the original night.
Ooh.
And I think this year, I'm going to say this year they've really, I'm just going to come in with a bit of an argument at the end, but they've really mixed it up lineup-wise. Definitely showing that they're open to new stuff and
That's good.
bit of the new guard coming in.
Yeah, now we've unpacked it. I think, as great as it is to look back, we've got to just be in the now. And I think the lineups that you mentioned just then have actually swung it for me because I think they're being diverse. You've got the long-standing Circle Loco, you've got amazing new nights, Trick, Solid Grooves, which is sort of been promoted from like a small room in Privilege to now hosting the whole club. It's really helping push the scene forward in Ibiza. So actually, thank you for interjecting everybody in the room. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm totally with you, and I love Space, but I think it does have to be DC10 out of these three choices. So
Well played.
can we agree with that? Okay, good. There we go. DC10 goes
Prize
on.
or anything, or?
You're on Planet B. You've been inducted.
There's no greater prize, my friend.
You are only the 6th person in the whole world
On Planet B.
on Planet B. Is that right? 1, 2, 3.
There's 6. Yeah, we
You
did
can
6
be on it
episodes.
twice.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're already on
Yeah,
it.
you're
Oh, no,
on
that's
it.
another thing. You're already on it.
Yeah, but Space is a sick club.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Right, we've got to finish. What with though? What do we do?
AOB. I'm not going to forget this time. Any other business?
Yes, good. Any of the
business,
business. This is your chance to just promote or say anything that you want to say that you want people to know. For us, Waze, what have you got coming up?
On the spot, just released a new record under my Waze alias. Got a running back EP coming under Ninth House, which is my other alias.
Yes,
so I've
very
got 2. I've done a Woolly.
Nice.
And also used the number 9, so alphabetically.
Oh,
related
it
to your
should be
point at the very
first.
beginning.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Top of every
Did you
bill.
do that on purpose?
No, it kind of happened.
Yeah,
like that, but
right.
look,
Whatever.
Like, Ninth House, arm of Van bicep. That's
Yeah.
how it goes. Love it.
winner. So that's busy doing that, and then Secret Garden this summer.
Wicked. And we'll see you Hideout at Festival.
Sure, we
as well.
might be on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about it afterwards. Gorgon City, Matt. Obviously, we talked about the residency. Exciting.
Yeah. Amnesia every Monday from mid-June in Ibiza. Also, loads of new music coming, remixes, collaborations, and new album probably, hopefully next year.
Oh, wicked. We didn't mention Realm actually the whole episode. Your label's killing it. Like so many bangers. Obviously, the Ben Kim thing and the LP remix
Nice one.
that we've had.
Yeah,
Disc Freak.
So
That's amazing. That record, the Disc Freak.
yeah,
that's
that comes out
yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, everything Realm, loads of Realm parties all over the world. So just check it out online. We're doing loads of Realm parties, loads of Gorgon parties.
Wicked.
It's gonna be fun.
Amazing.
Sick.
Monkey, I mean, you got loads going on, like those projects.
Yeah.
Tell us about your project.
Lots of projects. I'll be back in America in June. I'll be going on tour. The Women's Euros is this year, and it's in the UK, so I've got a lot going on
Yeah,
around that.
what's the role that you've got with this?
I started a creative collective / like agency in lockdown. So the Women's England announcement, I helped creatively direct. So look out for that.
Sick.
And we'll be
Amazing.
doing some other bits and pieces around the WSL and things like that.
Do you get to put your own tunes in the asset?
Have I done that yet? I think I might have, yeah.
I've got a tune.
And then later in the year, I will be joining Swedish House Mafia on their world tour.
Wow.
Amazing.
What?
Just that small thing.
Just that small
That
thing.
thing. That deserves a clap. That's massive.
Casual.
Sick.
Unbelievable.
Is that
Amazing.
you in Vintage
Fantastic.
Culture? I saw Vintage Culture's doing
There's a
that
few
as
of us,
well.
Kate Schneider as well.
Sick. Amazing. That's gonna be sick.
That is all we've got time for episode 6, but it's also series 1.
I can't believe
Been
it,
a lot
man.
of fun. I know. We decided DC10 was the best club in Ibiza.
Yep.
After a nice discussion.
Fair
And yeah, it's been great. Don't forget, if people have enjoyed the show, where can they find us?
They can find us at Welcome to Planet B on Instagram, and also it's on YouTube as well. So they're going to find us on YouTube.
Yeah, search YouTube, Planet B.
Yep.
Tell your friends about it. Tell everyone about it.
Yep.
It's pretty good, isn't it? I think it's good. Thank you, guys, and thank you to you for watching. If you've supported us throughout this whole series, honestly, it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
We will be back at some point, maybe after summer. We might do a few summer specials as well. But yeah, keep spreading the word, and thank you for your support. And thank you for taking a trip to Planet B.